There's been some reporting over the last few days around our judiciary and claims in the website Ground Up and then Daily Maverick that there's been some kind of a plot to assassinate a judge. The claim essentially, as I understand it, is that the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services was told that an awaiting trial inmate had said he had been contacted to assassinate the Deputy Judge President of the Western Cape, Judge Patricia Goliath. It was further claimed that the Western Cape Judge President, John Hlophe, was responsible for this. I must stress he strongly denied that accusation. But it erases again the situation within our judiciary. Lawson Naidoo is the Executive Secretary at CASAC, the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution. Lawson, good afternoon to you. We've had disputes, issues in our judiciary for a little while. This reporting seems to take things to a whole new level.
It does indeed, Stephen. Thank you. This latest revelation, and I think it must be emphasized that the basis of this issue lies in a report from the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services, the statutory body headed by a judge. So this is not some sort of a wild accusation or allegation. There appears to be some substance in terms of the death threat against the life of a member of the Western Cape High Court. It is alleged that another member of that court is behind it. But regardless of that, I think this paints a very grim picture of the state of the judiciary in the Western Cape in particular, coming on the back, as it does, of allegations or complaints and counter-complaints by Judge President John Hlophe against Patricia Goliath and by Deputy Judge President Goliath against the Judge President. So this is a very unsatisfactory state of affairs, and unfortunately the JSC processes of dealing with these complaints are very slow and laborious.
Well, I was going to come to that. I mean, the longer this is the situation, we have these two judges in these incredibly senior positions with these two complaints lodged against each other and no finality on it, presumably the worse for the judiciary.
Indeed it is. I mean, it's interesting, Stephen, that in Justice Moseneke's new book, he devotes a whole chapter to what one may refer to as the original Hlophe saga, dating back to the 2008 complaint against Judge Hlophe. And he ends the chapter by saying that 12 years later we're no nearer finalization of that complaint, let alone the complaints that have emerged more recently against the very same Judge President.
It really is quite something. I mean, is there any other way to resolve this? And I know there's been long conversations around the judges both stepping down or one of them stepping down. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Well, I think that, unfortunately, the Judicial Service Commission Act, again, doesn't provide an easy resolution to this issue of a judge stepping down or being suspended from office pending an investigation. But one would have thought that in the circumstances, there's a responsibility on the Chief Justice to seek to persuade the Judge President and possibly other implicated judges in the Western Cape Division to step down whilst this matter is being resolved, and to bring in, I would suggest, an acting Judge President from somewhere else, perhaps from the Supreme Court of Appeal, to stabilize the Western Cape High Court and to ensure that the integrity of that court is not further diminished.
When a process doesn't work, and I'm not saying the Judicial Service Commission process isn't working, but it's certainly taking a long time, as you've said, there are two questions really. Is it structure? Is the process too laborious, was the word you used? Or is it personalities? And you sort of made a comment about the Chief Justice. Is it a mixture of both those things? Do we need to relook at the structure?
I think it's a combination of the two, Stephen. The structure, I think, makes perfect sense when one looks at it from the perspective of the drafters of the JSC Act, that indeed it ought to be difficult to remove a sitting judge from office, and it should not be an easy thing to be done on the basis of what may, in some circumstances, be a flimsy complaint. So those protections are built into the Act to ensure the independence of the judiciary and make it difficult for a judge to be removed. But whilst respecting that, where serious complaints are lodged, there must be a mechanism whereby a judge is requested to step aside from active duty whilst those serious allegations against him or her are being investigated and resolved.
this is probably going to continue for quite a long time. I mean, I can't see any resolution to any of this. Judge John Hlophe, as you say, and you've referred to the former Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke's book, he does spend a whole chapter on that particular issue. We've seen Judge Hlophe strongly denying accusations against him in the past. He's going to see no reason to step down. And Judge Goliath isn't going to step down either.
Well, this is unfortunate because in these circumstances, judges are putting their personal interests ahead of protecting the integrity and public confidence in the judicial process, and ultimately in the rule of law on which our democracy is founded. So, judges need to be aware of their actions and what the implications of their actions are. For the integrity of the judiciary as a whole, and they should be able to see that bigger picture and realize that there are ways of them, defending themselves or clearing their names without bringing the judiciary into disrepute in the process.
Lawson Naidoo from the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, CASAC. Really do appreciate the time. Thank you very much indeed.